some things like logos are very, very interesting. That's a great example. Sometimes you can go to a client and say, oh, this is my logo, and it's like a tick, like a swoosh, whatever. The client goes, how long did it take you to come up with that? It's just a mark. And that might have taken that guy like 2 weeks. Whereas, let's say, if we were doing Agile Africa's logo, we would do like the continent, with maybe people holding hands, something very intricate. And that would actually take 2 hours, because the concept is very simple. It's very, it's just execution. You don't really need to think too much about it. So we have a lot of non-linear tasks, which are very, very hard to estimate. I remember the first time we were running an estimation session. I was thinking, how am I going to do this? So we have like a rock, paper, scissors thing for the story points. I'm sure some of you guys do it. So we go, 1, 2 points. And everybody's got to show off their estimate at the same time. So there's no cheating. And we get some wild estimations for the same task. But and I think this is still evolving, what's really helped us is measuring, and once we have an idea of velocity and how far we're going, it becomes easier for us down the track. One other issue that we tend to face is perfectionism, and that's something that's quite similar to software development as well. So you've got your binary search algorithm that you've written. The first version works well, it's fine, but you want to tweak it, you want to do it in one line. All these tasks, which are not really related to that goal. Your algorithm already works, it's already good enough for the client. The question is, who makes that decision? As a developer, you probably have an acceptance test. You've been told that this search algorithm has to perform at a certain rate. What is the acceptance test for a designer? Yeah, we've got brand guidelines, sometimes they go, you should use only these 3 colors. But if someone's designing something, how do you actually give them some criteria by which you can match whether they're able to do it? The other, I'll answer that, sorry. The other challenge that we face has been agency culture. So even though we were starting a new company and we pretty much defined how we wanted things to be, most of the staff that we're getting have actually worked in previous places. So they're already used to working on weekends, for example. So they don't really see it as a big issue. You can't tell people, hey, let's finish work by 5 p.m. Ad agencies have always been very, very fun places to work. Most of the, if you're big enough, you probably have a bar somewhere where you bring your clients. So a lot of that ingrained culture, which our employees or our sales who work in other places, we brought that baggage with us. So trying to unlearn some of those processes has been really hard. And I'll give you some examples. Yeah, so I think I already talked about this, but Agile design, so what we are trying to do is focus on selling the concept and then polishing it up later on. So I remember we'd gone for a pitch once, and our creative director actually drew what we were going to show the client in the car on the way there. Whereas previously, they would sit around, get the brief, go with the concepts all ready, and with 2 different versions in case the client doesn't like this one, we show you something else. So he drew it in the car. It was quite remarkable to watch, because we received the brief very late, and he just sat down and said, okay, we're just going to make it a plane, and he walked into the meeting with the actual sketch. And they were like, yes, we're convinced. So we found that we don't really need to get high fidelity stuff very early in the process. In terms of pairing, we have, because we do some development as well, so we have our designers working with the programmers in pairs, which has been really hard. It's been very, very hard to implement, because the tasks may not be the same. Our designer might want to go and design the website in Photoshop, and then the programmer is going to do it in HTML. And the designer is going to be deciding the colors and fonts in Photoshop, and then he's going to come and tell the developer, hey, why does this look different to my mockup? And the developer is going to be like, oh, you can't really do this in HTML, CSS is this. So we said, no, instead of having that, we'll just have the designer draw the sketch initially, and the two of them are going to sit down, work together until they get it right. So, and what we're finding is some of our designers are now having to learn a bit of HTML because they're sitting there looking at the code and saying, can you change that color to this? Can you change this? So that's working okay for us. So I think my slides got a bit mixed up, but this is something I wanted to talk about. The culture. The agency, this was actually a spoof account created by some creatives who work for an advertising agency in Kenya that shall not be named, so this is being recorded. But basically, they were revolting against the culture that they had within the place. They were tired of working late, tired of producing concepts that they didn't really believe in, so they have to pay the bills. And this is what that was their tagline, when your marketing needs and shit, because that's what they felt like most of the times they were working with. If all else fails, and I don't recommend this, if you've got an Android phone, you should get the whip. So what this app does is it converts your Android phone into a motivational device. Just bring demo of it right now, in case you So every time you shake your phone, it makes a sound of the whip, and you can choose a code which to motivate your minions or your co-workers. Yeah, my personal favorite is you will not buy slaves soul. No, seriously, I don't recommend it either. But we started using this as a joke in the office. And it's got all those buzzwords, see Agile is faster, give me 110%, teamwork is a lot of people doing what I want. So it's an industry where people are used to this kind of slave driving. But as I said, I don't really think it's a productive way of working. Yeah. Because places, you need to work in a place where you don't feel like you're being constantly pushed. Give me 110%. Yeah, so I think those are my rounding thoughts on Agile. I'd like to thank Upworks for getting me over here and JCC. I think it's going to be a really good conference. And I'm looking forward to learning a lot. So, if you've got any questions?
I'll start with a question. I work in a digital marketing agency. We should hug it out later. I so fully. The Agile, did you guys adopt Agile in the front end and back end development? Or did you do, it sounds like you're actually trying to do it throughout the entire agency.
Yes, so we've actually adopted it all across the whole organization. And the reason why we did that was, we were starting, so we could actually choose, we could actually pick methodology and work with it. I usually tell myself that 70% of my work is actually education. It's educating clients or educating our staff on the processes that we're choosing. Because it's kind of like a new, in Kenya, it's not really a new space. But because a lot of people are putting their foot into it, to get the to tell them how you want to work. It's not as previously. So I can imagine that if software development was started today, we would set the rules and say, we're developers, this is how we work. We wouldn't just be co-opted into other forms. But as I say, we curate our plans. At least that's what we like to think. That's why there's so few. So if there's somebody who is not happy to work with us to work, then we'd rather not